Well, the holidays are always a time for reflection. Many times, a time to spend with family. But I haven't spoken to my father in about 4 years. And in this video, I want to talk about the fallout that I had with my father, the situations that led up to it. Because, like many relationships that eventually separate, it's an accumulation of things. You hear about the saying, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Meaning it's not one thing that ends a relationship, it's an accumulation of things, and one thing pushes it over the edge. Andre, great to see you on the members chat. Love to you. Andre's a father. Happy Father's Day. Adam, great to see you. Happy Father's Day to both of you and all the people out there who are fathers. Love to you. Look, one of the toughest jobs, no doubt about it, is to be a parent. No doubt about it that the biggest pain you may experience in your life is seeing your child in trouble or separating from your parent themselves. So, for me, look, it started, my parents got divorced at the age of 8. And my memory, or one of the few memories I have of my parents living in the same household that I grew up, was mainly fights around the kitchen table. My father was very particular. He wanted everyone to sit down at the dinner table at a specific time. My mom was very like, let things just be, let things be a little sloppy, let the kids kind of do their thing. And so it was two opposite people, two opposite personalities. And they were from a couple generations ago, where you got married young, you stayed together, and you dealt with a lot of toxic behavior for the sake of family. I remember my father's father, saying to me one time that, Sam, you have to remember, family's everything. And I remember even at a young age, I said, no, Grandpa, I don't agree with that. Because he was old school Italian. He migrated over to America. My grandmother was stay at home. But my grandfather also had toxic behavior with, his own family. And he was a good guy. I believe overall I had a great family, great opportunity. I know many people that did not have a family support system. Family is your earliest support system and the beginning of your understanding of relationships, including the relationship with yourself. And so you see many times, like if someone goes to therapy, one of the beginning phases is asking you about your childhood and your relationships with your parents, because that begins the understanding of the dynamics of a relationship. And if that is improper or unhealthy, then every other relationship you will have in your life will kind of follow suit. Like I say, many trolls, a lot of it, what I believe is it's they're repeating what their father did, what their parents did. They're not breaking a cycle. They put no effort into being a better person. It's to tear someone else down. Like I say, you can't guilt trip someone to change. You can't terrorize someone to change. All you're doing is being an abusive person. If you don't like something, you have to leave. And I eventually didn't like my relationship with my father. I appreciate my father. I acknowledge without him, I wouldn't have what I have, because he did do certain things for me. And even after my parents got divorced at the age of 8, and I do remember calling 911 one time, or starting to, when my father was breaking dishes. But my father, I don't say overall was abusive, but I definitely say that he had a streak in him with which that could be toxic. He had OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. And of course, he come from the generation that didn't diagnose that. But beyond that, he could just be very tough to deal with, period. And so my mom and him eventually got divorced. I don't think my mom would have got divorced if the children, specifically me, didn't push her. I think if you stay in a relationship for the kids, I think the kids suffer and you're just being lazy. Because I still think, looking back, it was the best decision still. But once my parents got divorced, I didn't see my father, at least initially, but he paid child support. And then, I feel like, maybe around the age of 10, there was a scenario where we would go to his house every Sunday to visit him once a week. And of course, he would pay child support. He was at that time living with his parents after the divorce. And that became toxic. He had to go rent his own apartment. Make a mental note. I still observe that living with your parents, even after a divorce, you get what you need to to get your feet back under you, but then you got to get out of your parents' house because it's toxic, and even was for my father. Novell, $2 super chat. He goes, I saved 15% by switching to being fatherless. Yeah, look, relationships cost you, and obviously having kids cost you. And being in a toxic relationship costs you your soul. So there's financial. I walked away from inheritance. I walked away from money because I wanted peace. So obviously, look, I'm not going to lie to you, say like, if I knew that I would not be able to feed myself, or I would basically be in this third world country without the support of my father, I would have put up with it, right? But I live in a first world country. I was already kind of working. I was doing my thing. So I didn't need him, but I didn't want to just cut him out just because I didn't need him. I just didn't want to be controlled. Let me go back to live comments, and then we're going to go back to the story here. Pluto, good to see you, Sam. I have an opportunity for a promotion at work for a repair tech starting at $32 an hour. What would be something I can tell them to get the position when I don't have much experience? Well, one is I would basically say, are you working? If you're not working now, it's going to be very hard to get a job as a repair tech. It's very hard to get any job. When you're not working, you look desperate, and you are desperate. So the best thing you have in your favor is when you already have a job and you don't need another job. It's only a cherry on the top. However, and that, again, your job that you have could just be DoorDash, could be a night shift Planet Fitness check-in person. Doesn't have to be a big job, but something is better than nothing. So after that, look, you got to clean up your resume. Your resume, you need to have some level of documentation on what you've been doing the past 10 years of your life or 5 years of your life. And you have to kind of look at the job opening posting. What are the key words? So for a repair tech, they may say, well, you need to be able to diagnose XYZ. So whatever they're looking for you to diagnose as a repair tech, you have to study up on that. And you have to show that you are diligent enough to look online, get information about what you're repairing, and you've done some training. Like you can't just show up and say, yeah, I want to be this repair tech. I don't have training, but I'm willing to learn. You need to be able to say, I've already researched on my own. This is what I've learned. I've called up other repair techs. But it's going to be hard to get your foot in the door, because nowadays companies won't usually call you back unless you are a contender based on your resume. So, but nowadays also, at least till September, there's a lot of job openings because a lot of people are milking out the extended unemployments. So if you're going to get something, now's the time, because a lot of people are just waiting for that to end. But like I said, what's my number one advice? Start DoorDashing immediately. Work the night shift at Planet Fitness. If you're not willing to do that, you're not willing to be a repair tech. Because if you're going to learn an entire new skill set, but you can't accept a $2 delivery, the attitude, the tenacity is not there. If you're going to ask someone to give you a shot, but you're unwilling to work the check-in aisle, it's like, that is your biggest asset, is what you're already doing. If you're not doing something, it's very hard to sell people on nothing. Like I could put a plastic cup in front of you and I can make it more exciting. Like this plastic cup, okay, it holds a certain amount of water. It can be microwaved. It can be frozen. I can come up with a lot of things. But if there's no cup, if there's no action, if there's nothing going on, guys, I got to basically smoke and mirrors. And a lot of life is smoke and mirrors, but eventually it doesn't work. So that's kind of be my best advice. Novell, also $2 super chat. How old were you when he met wife number 2, dancing class? Yeah, my father, we'll go back to the father story and go back to live comments. Look, I want to say this. My father was his happiness when he was renting a studio apartment. He didn't own anything. He got his coffee out. He got his food out. He was like me, and I take note of this. He was a lot cleaner than me, but he didn't like making coffee in the house. He didn't like cooking in the house because he didn't want to deal with the aggravation. Again, when you have a personality where you're high energy, you're persistent, you're organized, you need things in a certain order. Now, I'm kind of in between because I could have things sloppy, but I also don't like unnecessary wasted time. And to me, like cooking, cleaning, and having coffee machine, to me, it's almost easier and more efficient to pay to go get it rather than to do it in your house. But I say all that to say, make a mental note of your father's temperament, of your mother's temperament, because you're their offspring. However, make a mental note, you have a different fingerprint. You can break the cycle, okay? But you have to observe. So I observed that my father was his happiest when he was single in a rented small apartment. He had an older car. He worked, got his overtime. He was done with child support. He was kind of just doing his thing. But he couldn't be alone. That's where we're totally opposites. Me, I could be alone. I have been alone for a long time. I thrive. Yes, I see beautiful women sometimes I want to get with. Yes, there's always a little bit of loneliness, but there's more suffering. There's more responsibilities, more aggravation with a relationship. So he couldn't discipline himself, or he has a different temperament where he can only be alone for a certain bit. Like, so I don't know, misery loves company or whatever, but he's got to be with someone else. So he went to this, the Hilton in New Jersey had like Friday night dancing for older people. So he would go, and he did that for a couple of years. He met one girl, it didn't work out, and she put a restraining order on him because when it didn't work out, he'd be spiteful. And that's why when I severed my relationship with him, I changed my number, because that's how he is. Like, he's very nice, he's very sweet, he's done a lot of things for me. But once, like, he can get spiteful. And it was always there, even when I was young. So even when I repaired my relationship with my dad, I always kind of knew that I had to have boundaries and I had to play his game a little bit, because he was the type of guy, he's very controlling. And if things aren't in his control, because he can't handle it mentally, he'll lash out. And so for me, I'm like, I try to work with people, but that's something that definitely made me a little bit quick to cut people off now. Because when I see that tendency in people, like, if you don't do exactly what they want, if you don't behave the way they want, they can't handle you changing, and they're going to terrorize you until you submit to their demands, just like trolls or anything else. And I just block them, because I'm not playing that game. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm not trying to be your friend. Now, look, if we're working in a professional manner, we're paid to get along, okay? But in a personal manner, I'm not paid to put up with toxic. And like I say, I walked away from money because I could have played the game, guys. I think you guys know I know how to navigate life to a certain degree. I can be broken, but I understand life. So I could have played the game with my father and just, but to me, there's only a certain amount. Money is not, if I can make money, if I'm not destitute, and even if I was destitute, there's only so much money can buy. I mean, you don't want to be in a toxic relationship just for money. And now there's a dynamic, because again, my father got me started in a career in the electrical field, and he taught me a lot, and he paid child support. He wasn't someone who abandoned his responsibilities. Again, I think if you're going to have kids, you have to take care of them at least till they're 18. Because you can say you dated a manipulative woman, but you can't say that you chose not to wear a condom multiple times. So you have to own that. Now, again, the court system may be the way it is, but your actions brought that upon you. So he handled his responsibilities. So I give him credit for that. But fast forward, that eventually he went through a couple of relationships in his 50s. And then in his late 50s, he met this girl who I got along with. I had no problem with. And they were together for a while. Then they decided to move in, and then they decided to get married. And he asked me, he goes, "What do you think about getting married?" I said, "Well, Dad, look, it's your choice." I said, "I wouldn't do it. Not my thing." I said, "I don't know why you want to." I said, but, you could just put her in your will. Because to me, I mean, if you put someone in their will and if you do all that, then they're covered financially. Getting married is a business transaction. You're not getting manipulated. You're willingly getting into a business transaction if you're an adult. If you're not an adult and you're going to blame the man or a woman, you're a baby. If you're an adult, you understand that marriage is two people come together and they bond their emotions and their financial assets. And that's a risk. And so to mitigate that risk, either you're going to get a prenup, or you're not going to get married, but you're going to put something in the will so that both parties are covered if there's an event. Okay, so, but bottom line was, he just decided to get married. He asked me, he said, "Sam, do you think I should get married?" I guess no, I wouldn't, but I respect you, respect her. You guys do what you want. And so he just did it. He didn't tell me, and I was fine with it. He got married in Atlantic City at like a casino hotel, like by Justice of the Peace or whatever. He didn't have a ceremony. So, but that was like kind of the thing, right? So he always did what he wanted to. He may ask my opinion, and that's fine. He's an adult. But what the straw that broke the camel back in our relationship with our fallout was, I was thinking about selling my house, maybe living in my car, maybe buying a place right away in Florida. And I was looking on all the scenarios, and he was dead set against me living in a car. I go, "Sam, I don't know why you would do that. That's crazy. That's going backwards, no reason." And for me, it kept making more and more sense. And I said, when I tried to tell him I was really thinking of doing that, I could see like he would get too agitated. I was like, I don't need to deal with it because I was scared. Because a big decision for me to sell my house, which I did in New Jersey, and then decide to live in a car in New Jersey until I can get a job transfer. So I was scared. Thank you, Neville. I'm going to get to that. I was scared, and he was getting like very abrupt on how he was perceiving what I was going to do. So I didn't tell him. I didn't tell any of my parents. I didn't tell any of my friends. I just sold my house. Okay. And eventually people started finding out. And when he found out I sold my house and I didn't tell him, he got very spiteful. And it started fights. And I said, look, I'm not dealing with this. Why should I have to tell you that I sold my house? Okay. One is I didn't ask you for anything. I'm not bothering you. I still respected him. I called him the same amount of times. I did the same amount. But because I didn't tell him, it threw him out of his routine. And again, he's got OCD. And he began to lash out. And I think part of it too was because he was married. He was taking care. He had a house. He got more stress. Okay. And all these things add up. And then he started just getting nastier. And this was too when the time Trump first got elected. And he knew I was dead set against Trump. He was kind of like a Democrat most of his life, but conservative a little bit. And the girl he married was a big Rush Limbaugh, South Jersey conservative. She was nice. I got along with her. I got along with conservatives. But that whole thing started too, because that was when Trump just got elected. So that was like, again, it's the straw that broke camel's back. It was that whole different way you look at life. You're either a Trumper or you're not. That's how I look at life. Now, I get along with Trumpers, some of them. But at the same time, like, there's a certain mindset with certain things that we're total opposite, okay? I respect everyone, but I'm being honest with you guys. I can lie to you. So there was that mindset, and I think she was feeding that mindset. They're watching Rush Limbaugh. I totally disagree with, like, shit I was saying. And that was just part of it. But mainly part of it is that control spirit. It's that total hypocrisy, right? Like, you can get married 2 times, which is against religion. Donald Trump is bringing back Christmas, but he married a foreigner. He hires foreigners. It's this total hypocrisy mindset, the old school versus new school, okay? And I'm sitting up there like, you're a fraud. His favorite singer coming up was Barry Manilow, who is a gay guy. Now, at that time, I didn't know Barry Manilow was gay. He liked Barry Manilow. He liked Donna Summers, okay? He liked the disco movement, okay? So, that was another thing about the bathrooms. I'm like, what do you care about all this for? Like, you know what I mean? But I'm saying all that to say, me living in my car was a major part of fallout. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, because all the years of me just trying to like bear with his stuff, he was particular. He wanted me to call him every Tuesday. He wanted me to baby him because, again, he's a little bit emotionally immature, but very nice. He did a lot of things for me. He took care of responsibilities. But it was like dealing with a troll. As soon as you don't like do exactly what they want, they fucking start trolling you. And I could deal with it a little bit, but at a certain point, I said, look, I got my own problems, okay? I'm trying to figure out my life to move to Florida. I sold my house. I'm very scared. I got my own shit. I don't need to deal with your insecurities too, okay? And that, like, I kind of just blew it. And from that day forward, too, I think I stopped fucking with people that they want me to be this diplomat. What I've learned in life, and many people too who voted for Trump, they want you to speak to them like Barack Obama. They want you to be very diplomatic to them. But they want to be able to speak to you like Donald Trump. They want to be able to tell you how it is. And so you can't have it both ways. Like, he can get married whenever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. He can be a hypocrite whenever he wants. But I got to be the guy who listens, who says, yes, okay, agreeable. And I'll do it a little bit, but I'm not going to do it to the point where, like, you're running over me. Okay, so... And, that was pretty much it. But bottom line, I don't know if he's still married. I can guarantee you, too, the girl he married, she was smoking cigarettes, too. I don't know if she's still alive. Again, I got along with her great. I got along with them both great. But I do think that, look, you are who you live with. So both of them were at this very cynical part of their life where, this was her second marriage, too. I think her first husband died. She had one child that died. I know that was very hard. But I don't know if they're still living together. I can't see them being that happy, but their whole life basically consisted of they wake up, they do the same thing every day. They eat the same time. Fridays when they have pizza. They live this very structured, orthodox life, which is fine. But I wanted to live a different life. Okay. And I think the different mindsets, the different vibes, the different culture, the different philosophy on life, it comes to a boiling point because there's only so long you can be told, or not total opposites, but it's only so long you can have a different mindset and walk on the same path. And so Here I sit 4 years later. I think it's been about 4 years since I talked to my father. I don't think I'll probably ever talk to him again. Is that the fallout was based around me selling my house, living in my car, but it was really just a straw that broke the camel's back. Because really, since my age of remembrance, the age of 8, he was a controlling person, even to the point where he would smash dishes because all the children have to sit at the dinner table at the same time. Okay? And at the same time, to be fair to him, he paid his child support. He did the best he could. He could have abandoned us, but he didn't. And again, I have to be honest with you. I had friends that didn't have fathers, and I know that makes life harder, okay, when they're not at least in your life to give you some support, even if it's just paying support. So there's always going to be this duality, okay, that I have to show a level of love and respect because I've seen those who don't have fathers at all. However, a big part of my life is pretty much without him. And even though he gave me certain opportunities, I mean, I put in the work, I did the things, and I transcended electrical work. I got into IT, I got into engineering. And even when I left the electrical trade, he was a little upset. And I said, Dad, look, I told you when I got in, I don't want to work with my hands the rest of my life. I'm doing this to get my certifications. I'm going to do something else. Because even like when I was young, I told him I was going to go to DeVry. I was going to go to like a technical school for computers. Now, it would have been hard to me to get started, and I don't know if I would have had as good as a career because it takes a while to get to college and then to start working. Like with electrical union, you start working right away, you go to school at night for 5 years. I hated it, but I did what I needed to do to chase that bag, okay? But as soon as I could, I got out of that because I knew I didn't want to carry a hard hat and work in construction the rest of my life. And when I did that, there was a little resistance there, but I think that he respected, that I did what I needed to do, and I did everything respectfully. So I don't know, but it's like, hopefully some of that helps. Let me go back to these live comments. I'm trying to share with you guys as much as I can while still reading. I'm going to go back to all of them. So, Novell says, the legal age for marriage should be 30. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. I would say that's right. I think statistically they say if you get married before the age of 25, there's a 72% chance you're going to get a divorce. If you get married after 25, it's 50%. So I'm sure the older you get married, the percentages change a little bit, right? Risk mitigation. However, you could also say, look, at the age of 30, I would say 30 is not bad though. But the bottom line is that we're different in 2001 than we were in 1961. And my parents coming from the 60s and 70s, again, pressure was by the time you're 25 to have a couple children. A lot of times the mother didn't work. And when we were young, my mother didn't work. When we got divorced, my mom had to work. Okay, even though she got child support, she worked 2-3 jobs. And so, I don't know. Like I say, everyone in my household is different. I'm one of 3 siblings. My other 2 siblings, I love them. I respect them. They don't work. They got disability. They got issues with different addictions and different relationships. And I don't know that. I'm not judging them, but I'm saying I observed that, right? And I'm saying too, what I learned in life is for me to be one of 3 siblings, to be productive, to live a healthy life, to not be addicted to things, to try to live a better life. For me, I have to be intense to cut people off and to keep distance from certain people and to keep distance even from New Jersey at times. Because for me, guys, I don't want to live that life. And you're not going to break certain generational things, or you're not going to break certain mindsets by being entrenched in it. You have to separate yourself, And again, overall, I had a great childhood compared to many people I've seen. I had the support, but overall, the bottom line is I'm the only one out of all 3 siblings, okay, that's doing something as far as working, not in a toxic relationship, and not strung out on some type of drug. And I don't say that in judgment. And I know that I hate to talk about that, but that's part of my testimony. And I have to say that because I have to realize I can't just be apathetic on how I approach life. If I was, guys, I'd be in New Jersey doing that shit or wherever. It doesn't matter about New Jersey, but I'd just be in that cycle and be guilt tripped. I have to, but I can't, and so, like you say, as an adult, you got to figure out your life. And for those who love you, and I give my mom credit, my mom's not perfect, but I give her credit, is that, when I start making certain decisions, she just, whether she agreed or not, she just respected it, let me do my thing. Because I think that, she saw it too. Look, I was always willing to work. I was always responsible. I mean, I made my mistakes. I failed. I let her down certain things. There's no doubt about that. So I'm not perfect, but I'm saying that, look, when someone is giving effort into their life and when someone's just a leech or someone's just toxic. And, I always put effort. I failed, but I always put effort, always did what I needed to do. Okay. So, like I always tell you, I mean, but the bottom line is, again, even with my mom, when I was changing my eating habits and when I was moving to Florida, my mom doesn't want to be in Florida how I live in Florida. My mom doesn't want to eat how I eat. She doesn't want, but, we had to come to that point where, look, I'm my own person now, Father's Day and Mother's Day, it's time to respect your parents, but it's also time for them to respect you. And you now are an adult, and you're coming together on Father's Day, Mother's Day to celebrate the fact that you made it through, okay, life to this point. You respect, I had that support, but we can't control each other. Because I always say, if your parents had you just so you do everything they want and you take care of them, they basically gave birth to an indentured servant. That's why they had you. And if that's the case, shame on them, man. Again, I understand a lot of people just have kids because it was sexual. I was supposed to be an abortion. And I always share with you guys, I kind of wish I was, and because I don't think life is this great thing, but I'm also thankful for my life. I make the most of it. But I think many people, either because of sex, either because of peer pressure and that generation, it was what it was, So let's go back to all live comments. I know I've missed a lot, and then I'll talk more about the stories. Pluto, I read that. Mary Taz, hey Mary Taz, great to see you. I hope you walked your dog today. Love to you and appreciation to you. When you guys and girls come in, if you want to click that thumbs up, that'd be great. Leave a comment if you're a member. Love to you. Novelle, yes, thank you again, Novelle. Mary Toss, happy Father's Day to all the dads. Yes, happy Father's Day to everyone. Even if you have a dog or a cat, shout out to you, Mary Toss. When I had a dog, to me, it was like being a father. You say, what was one of the most painful things in my life? When I had to put my dog down. I mean, I still think about that often. And I still think about, I would say 99% of my memories with my dog are good, but I still sometimes think about the 1% bad. And, my failings as a father there at the end of her life, being a little bit impatient. And, like I say, I mean, I think that, like I say, life has relationships that leave a scar on you one way or another. I mean, that's why it's so critical to decide who are you going to be in a relationship with. Like the friends with benefits or the casual friends that really are not how you want to be. You can't have casual friends, guys. I mean, you should be cool with everyone. Don't look for enemies. But you can't have casual friends if you're totally different. It's like, because casually are you going to go to a place and do something and that you normally wouldn't do if it was just you? I don't think you should. I've seen a lot of people, good people, that got caught up simply because of casual relationships. And as you become an adult, you have to separate from sometimes family and sometimes friends you grew up with. Not necessarily because there's this bad thing. I mean, I think overall I had great friends too. But look, you get to a point in life where you got to build your own life. They're building their life. They should be. Everyone is on his own journey. I always looked at it, whether right or wrong, this is how I look at it. I don't like, to me, going back to like a high school reunion or going back, that does nothing for me. Because for me, I'm thankful for all the great memories because I think overall I had a good childhood. But to me, I'm trying to persevere forward without alcohol, without cigarettes, without drugs, without toxic relationships. Now again, is my way right? Guys, I'm living in a car. So I'm not going to sit here and say, you should live like me, have no kids, no family, and live in a car. I'm just saying, for me, I'm doing what I got to do for me. And everyone has to kind of figure that out on their own. Pluto. It's within the same company. Well, if you're already working for them, the best thing you have in your favor is your history of your yearly reviews. I would pull all your yearly reviews up. If you don't save your yearly reviews, you need to get into a habit of that. So as an example, if you've been with the company for 10 years and just about every year you got a positive review, that's a huge leverage point. That's what I went through. Now also though, when I went for my first remote job transfer, I got denied, but I got in front of people and I connected and I earned a reputation, and that helped. But it took me another 2 years to get the right job. So that's how I would tell you. Keith, $10 super chat starting to rain in South Florida. Appreciate you and your channel. Thank you. Been a blessing to you. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate all the people who watch, all my members, all the super chats, everyone. I have gratitude, not entitlement, and I'm appreciative. Look, on the platform of YouTube, you know, and there's times in my life where I wanted to be a pastor, but then I said, man, I can't show up every day to a church, and I kind of wanted to do things unorthodox, not just based on religion. And, you know, even doing YouTube, being virtual and doing it when I want, how I want, is still mentally tough. If I had kids and a family and even adult, I don't know if I'd be able to do it at the capacity I'm doing it, because for me, it takes a toll on. I think you'll see that in any YouTuber. You see that they make videos and then they take a break, because I'm not saying it's working in a ditch. I worked in a ditch, but it's a certain mental ditch that you're in with yourself and with others that you got to really be in a good place. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go back to live comments. Forgive the rain. I'm in my car. I'm in South Florida. It's the summertime. It's rainy season. Today is the first day of summer. June 20th, 2021 marks the first day of summer in the Northern Hemisphere. Hal, $5 super chat. Praying for you. I know tomorrow is your big day, first day job. Thank you, Sam, for the tough talks. You did it. I appreciate them, and it's helped me to get where I'm at. You're about to capitalize off your gifts. Blessings, man. Well, blessings back to you. Hal has been out of work for almost a year, a little over a year. He was in the hotel industry. He got laid off during the coronavirus. And now he's getting ready to go back into the workforce. Tomorrow is his first day. Pray for him. I believe in prayers. I believe in also doing the work. And he's doing the work. He's going to show up. That's the hardest part. Twista left me a comment today about basically he showed up and most of the other people didn't. And what I want to tell you is March 26th, oh guys, so I thought it was March 21st. The biggest part about any job is showing up. And once you do that, smile. And then once you do that, guys, the rest is easy. Or you'll figure it out over time. And the longer you're on the job, the more confident you'll get, because the more you're used to the things you need to do. When I first started the electrical field and my father helped me get into it, guys, I didn't know anything. I didn't know any tools. I didn't know anything about construction or engine. There was a pipe bender in a gang box full of tools. I was like, man, what is this? And a couple of years later, guys, I knew every tool in the toolbox. I was bending pipe. I was running circuits. So the first day or the beginning of any job, there's intimidation. But over time, if you keep showing up, you gain knowledge, and that's how you gain confidence. The opposite happens when you stay out of the workforce. You're not working for a long period of time, so you start to lose knowledge because things are always changing. The code book refreshes every year, 3 years in electrical. It refreshes in everything, medical field. So when you're not in the workforce, you lose knowledge, you lose your edge. Then you also lose confidence. And then you get to a certain point where you're so intimidated, you have a big gap in your resume, and now you're in this algorithm of poverty, where a self-fulfilling prophecy where you can't do anything, you're not doing anything, and the rest of your life is going to be basically that. And I've seen people do it, got family members that do it. I'm not saying those who have a disability or need help shouldn't be on it, but I'm saying I've seen people get more depressed sitting home doing nothing. I've seen people get broker, being more toxic relationships because of that. So get what you need to get if you need help. But if you stop helping yourself, you're fucked. Okay. And if you're basically gonna just sit at home to do drugs or to be in a bad relationship and to fuck your life off, I don't want to be around you. Okay. I don't want to be around you. I don't care what the fuck you got going on, because I'm not going to destroy my life, and I don't want to hear your sad story either. I don't. Everyone's got a sad story. I've known people that have legit sad stories, a lot sadder than me, and I think I had a good story overall. But I'm also not going to play that fucking game. I don't care how bad your story is, because there's nothing I can do to change it. All I can do is say, you want this job? Then show up. And I did that, and a lot of people didn't take the advice. They didn't take the job. And I said, well, gotta help yourself now. Alex, $4.99 super chat. Shout out to the Space Coast. Shout out to Florida. Love to you, Alex. Gratitude for you staying with me. Gratitude for that super chat. You know I love Florida. You know I love your section. Respect to you. Appreciation to you. Thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. All right, guys, let me take a hydration break. Go all live comments. I'm very grateful for you tonight. Shout out to, again, all my fathers out there, all those who don't have a father, all my mothers, all my dog fathers, cat fathers. Love to you. Thank you. All right, back live comments. I hope I'm getting them all. I want to go in order. Forgive me for being late. Okay, so I read that. I think I left off at Maritas. Oh, no, I didn't read this one. Pluto said, oh, yeah, I read. Oh, that's the last one. It was with the same company. Adam. Thanks, Maritas. Took my dad out to Crackle Barrel. Had a good time. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you had a good time. You know, one thing I do hate about the holidays is that obligation to do something, and there's a lot of pressure. A lot of people have heart attacks during the holiday season. But, you know, I'm very grateful that I could video conference my mom and we just share that, look, we know that when we spend time together, it's a holiday. Every day when we spend time together. I don't want to be forced to spend time on one particular day. I don't begrudge anyone who does that. But that's the only bad part about holidays, that there's a lot of people that are so rigid. If you don't call them for that holiday, or if you don't give them a card, or if you don't take them out, to me, the worst day to take, and I'm not talking about you, Adam, I'm just sharing here. The worst day to take your father out is Father's Day, because all the fucking, all the restaurants are crowded. You're already like you're forced to do it. Then you go in this place where everyone else goes. It's more crowds, like the Jersey Shore, and it's stress. I called my mom today. She said, yeah, someone was stressing out because their daughter had came. They were trying to find a place for them to stay. It was same thing with my mom. I remember being in New Jersey at one time, and I was like, I felt obligated to go see my mother on Mother's Day, and I was traveling on the Garden State Parkway. It was crowded because everyone was going to see their mother. Everyone was going to CVS or Walgreens to get a Mother's Day card. They're all sold out. And we're going to the diner. Everyone's doing the same thing just for the obligation. And one of my first videos on my channel was forget obligations. Take your mother out next week or the week before. And if she can't understand that, she's a controlling bitch. And if your father can't understand it, he's an OCD asshole. Okay. And the bottom line is you're going to look around and maybe your parents. And you may have to have a fallout with them. Now, I'm not saying to do that, guys. I'm not telling anyone to do anything. I'm sharing my experience, my mindset. Love to you. Thank you, Adam. Novell, yeah, he met his second wife, that's my father now, in his late 50s. He decided to get married. He had to deal with the consequences. I don't feel bad for him because that's what he wanted. And I supported it if that's what he wanted. But I don't support if he took on more stress and that made him more anxious, more... Look, he should have knew that if he doesn't like making his own coffee because the coffee machine, like similar to me, then he's not the type of person that should be in a relationship. But where he's not like me is he's the type of person he can't be alone. I can be alone. So I've already proved it most of my life, you know, as far as, you know, live on my own. So love to you, Maritas. Sam, do you think it's a good idea to raise your auto insurance coverage as a nomad as your auto insurance is now your home? Well, I used to. For 4 years, I've had the highest. I had like maximum auto coverage. Now, obviously, if you still have a loan on your car, you got to have comprehensive and liability. If you don't have a loan, if you have your car paid off, you don't need to have comprehensive, just liability. But recently, I took off the comprehensive. Why? Because my car has 200,000 miles on it. The book value is less than 5,000 with the mileage in a year. So the risk reward, and I had a $1,000 deductible. The risk reward, not worth it. So it all depends on the value of your car, the age of your car, and the mileage, which all equivalent to value. Like if you have a 4-year-old car, it's paid off, and it's worth Kelley Blue Book, it's worth $30,000. You should have comprehensive and liability. Now, as far as how much money limits you should have in your coverage, it should be based on your assets. So if you own a house and it's worth $300,000 and you have $100,000 in a savings account, you need to have coverage to cover at least $400,000 because that's your net worth pretty much. I mean, you know, depending on how much you have in your mortgage. So look, what do I have? For the longest, I had comprehensive and liability. Now I just have liability, but I also have an umbrella policy. Why? Just in case. You can get an umbrella. My regular policy, I think it's like $300,000, the limit, the liability. And I have $1 million umbrella policy. because it's like $200 for the entire year. And that way, if I get in an accident with 5 Teslas and I need to pay for lawyers or whatever, the umbrella policy kicks in. So, that's I would definitely recommend. Obviously, look, if you're dead broke and you're living in your car and you're living on $1,000 a month, you just need the basic minimum, right? So it all depends who I'm talking to. If you're basically living paycheck to paycheck, you got nothing in savings, you're destitute, you got a 20-year-old car that's just holding on, you need the basic coverage, okay, for, your state and how much you need. Now, I think every nomad needs AAA or roadside assistance within their car insurance, because if you get a flat or if you need a jump, you want to at least be able to get it towed or get help to get you to a hotel or wherever you're going to get. So that's kind of my answer. Hopefully that helped. Mary Toz, cool, Adam. Love Crackle Barrel. Hal, what's good, Sam? What's good, brother? Love to you, man. Thank you for sharing the updated date. June 26th. Got you on my prayer calendar. Twista, what's up, Sam? What's up, man? Great to see you. I read your comment earlier before I went live. Very proud of you for showing up. Again, he showed up, and most of the people he was working with didn't, and he looked like a star. Why? Because, guys, I guarantee you, if you show up consistently, people you work with, they're going to fall out, definitely at a lower level. The higher you go, obviously, you're going to meet more diligent people, right? The higher you go on the career chain, less people are not showing up. They're taking planned vacation, what they're rightfully so. So when you're on the lower scale, which I've worked my way up, guys, work from the bottom up, guys, a lot of people are going to call out, okay? Because they don't take this shit serious. And their whole life going to be at that bottom level, okay? But as you go up, less people just don't show up, okay? But that's where you want to be. You want to be by the diligent workers. You don't want to be, okay, by the people who don't they hate their job. They hate their boss. They resent the fact that they're able to make money. I never forget when DoorDash started, okay, people complained that it wasn't good enough. And to me, it was like, oh my God, you could do this on the side, fucking from anywhere? Fucking ungrateful people, man. And they're the same type of people, man. Like, they're ungrateful for a Walmart job. They're ungrateful for a security job. These people, man, don't put your neck on the line getting them a job. Because what I found, I'm not saying everyone should be a DoorDash or everyone should work at Walmart. I'm not saying everyone should be a construction worker. I'm saying, look, if someone's got a bad attitude, don't matter what they do, they're going to have a bad attitude. If they're not grateful to be able to make money in a legal way, earn money, what type of person are you dealing with? Bad person. Bottom line, okay? Don't judge them, but don't fuck with them. That's what I tell you. Never hang out with people who don't even take working seriously, okay? Don't take earning an income seriously. Why? Because, guys, that's their mindset. There was some guy, he left a comment the other day. I disagree with you. Politically, there's politicians trying to stop certain people from advancing. Bullshit. This guy sits at home all day, okay? He doesn't want to DoorDash. He doesn't want to work, okay? And he's developed this mindset of everyone is against him. But the fact is, he's lazy, he's apathetic, got a bad attitude. And even if his father was like that, even if his friends were like that, he's an adult, okay? And guys, like I tell you, I'm one of only 3 siblings who work. So I don't want to hear that just because your friends or your family are a certain way, you can't be different, okay? So what I could tell you is there's no politician trying to stop you, no matter which, there's you, okay? Yes, there's always systemic systems in everything that has a level of inequality, no matter what you do, okay? No matter what you do. But bottom line is they're begging people to show up, okay? Begging, okay? And if you don't show up, no one gives a fuck about your sad story. Why? Because if you don't have enough self-respect to show up, you don't care, okay? And if you don't care, no one else cares. That's the bottom line. Now, maybe you want a babysitter, but what I can tell you guys, if that's what you want, your whole life's going to be a disaster. And I don't want to be by you. I want to be friends with you. Oh, shit, I missed a bunch of super chats. Fred, $5 super chat all the way from Brooklyn. What's up, Sam? Glad to see you keep pushing forward. I'm sweating in South Florida. Stay safe out there. Thank you, Fred, for everything, man. What's your next game plan? I love to you, bro. Thank you, Fred. It's great to see you, man. So, Fred, my game plan is try to make it into August in Florida. I was thinking today, well, Sam, is it time to head up north? Because the weather's getting tough down here, guys. Very hot, very humid, rainy storms. But it was still, even though it's cloudy and humid today, still nice enough to fully submerge in the ocean. The gym still got air conditioning. Starbucks still got air conditioning. And I know because I spent a whole last summer in New Jersey. And I traveled up and down the East Coast. And I know through my experience, Even if I travel up north, it makes the weather a little bit better, but it's more crowded up north. The stores are more crowded. The culture is not to my liking. So I would actually cause myself more pain by going up north. Now, I'm a little bit discomfort because, guys, it's very hot right now. But I still think I'm in a better place in South Florida, at least till August. I would ideally like to get till after Labor Day. The first week of September, that's when I would like to go up north. But I'm staying down South Florida, hopefully until Labor Day weekend. Maybe even I'll find a home base. I did go look at a home base this weekend. I don't know if that's the answer. I'm still also looking at the 1,000 Trails and still looking at the hybrid model. Just stay in my car and supplement it with some hotel nights on these hot summer nights. But I'm not headed up north yet. I'm trying to get through one day at a time, but I would like to get to Labor Day before I head up north. I do not want to be in the Jersey Shore. I don't want to be in North Carolina. I don't want to be in South Carolina. I don't want to be in Georgia. I don't want to go west. I want to stay in Florida. I love Florida. I love the people. I love the beaches. Yes, it's hot right now, but there's not a lot of people. And I'm a Floridian, guys. That's who I am. And I really think about it because I can go anywhere. And I ask myself every day. And I have to discipline myself because the human emotion just wants to move for the sake of moving. And I'm not saying I've done it. I've already done it for 4 years. And there's value to moving. It makes you more, but I may travel a little bit around Florida. I've been thinking about that. And I know that would give some content. A lot of people like to see different parts of Florida. That's a possibility, but I don't think I'm leaving Florida until Labor Day weekend. Love to you, friend. Thank you for your tip. Thank you for still being with me. Hal? No, Sam, tomorrow is the date I start my new job. Okay, that's what I thought. March 21st. March 26th was taken. Oh, okay. Last year, 2020. I'm sorry. I got my thing was when I lost my job and I've been out of work since then. Wow. So it's been almost a year and like 3 months. How, and everyone listening, everyone who's ever listened to this, you know how scary it is your first day on your job. However, everyone listening to this, you know that after you show up that first day and after you go for a few weeks, it gets easier. So I want you to pray for Hal tomorrow, that God give him the strength, grace, and good people to work with to help him as he familiarizes himself with the job, and you'll figure it out. And the longer you work there, the more empowerment you'll get, the more knowledge. And like I always tell you, you're too talented to sit on the bench. So don't do it to yourself because people want you, people need you, and you're going to excel. I love you, brother. Charles, 499 Super Chat. Thanks for the encouragement, brother. Thank you, Charles, for being a positive person. I know that it's a little bit anticlimactic coming to Florida and then trying to figure out what's next, okay? Because Charles, similar to me, like he came to Florida. I think he came in a more abrupt way than me, only because like his circumstance, but he came to Tampa and he's still figuring out maybe where he wants to live and still building a support system. But look, when you come to Florida, I made videos when I was traveling back and forth from Florida to New Jersey. I learned it. And I learned it from people in my life that came to Florida and left. It's anticlimactic. You come to Florida for a lot of people and they think that the world's going to change. Now, look, the quality of life changes. At least it does for me. It's better in Florida. However, you still have to have a daily routine. You still have to wake up early, you still have to be productive, you still have to work out. That never goes away. So where people fail is people come to Florida thinking that just the hot weather, just the palm trees, just the beach will automatically make them be active, will automatically make them structure their day. No. All it is hotter and nicer environment. So if you are not laying a foundation in your life when you're in Indiana, when you're in New Jersey, when you're in Oklahoma, you're going to come to Florida. You're not going to pay state income tax, but you're also going to have the same habits. So anyone thinking of moving, you have to really have your habits in order because you're going to be tempted to go back to wherever you came from because you now you think it's better there. But it's not better. It's more familiar. It makes me think of the Israelites, just a story in the Bible, where a bunch of people were in slavery in Egypt, and they wanted to go to this quote-unquote promised land. And so on their journey there, a lot of them said, man, fuck this. We're better off in slavery. At least we know we're going to get food. We know our day. It's more comfortable. People go back to familiarity. They go back to their ex. They go back to their parents' house. I often say the prodigal son, which was another story in the Bible, I don't think the son would have came back to his father if his investments doubled, okay, and he met a beautiful woman that treated him right. But he blew his money okay, on Bitcoin and prostitutes. No, I'm just playing. He blew his money on prostitutes and gambling. Okay. And so he went back to his father. His father loved him, took him back. I think his father was a control freak too, but that's my opinion. Bottom line, guys, the real story of the prodigal son should be, if your father loves you and you love him, you'll talk to him even when you're gambling with prostitutes. Okay. I would have still been talking to my father even when I was in my car in Florida, because I was still doing it when I was in my car in New Jersey. But he was controlling. Okay. And I'll tell you right now, even if I lose everything, I pray I didn't. Again, if I had no other choice, I mean, I can't say if I had no other choice. But if I had a choice, if I was in a first world country, if I can get help some other way, I would never go begging back to a family member, man. Because it's the worst. Okay. And when, you best believe when I had my fallout with my father, he asked for the $5,000 he gave me. Okay. And I remember when he gave me that $5,000, he said, Sam, you never have to pay me back. I went to pay him back. He goes, you're my son. But as soon as I didn't do what he wanted, give me that $5,000 back then. And I cut the check and I changed my number. And my mom was the opposite, because my mom helped me too. She never asked for anything back, even when she disagreed with me. And I'm sure she probably wanted to. So, look, everyone's got to figure it out, but hopefully this helps you a little bit. Back to live comments, guys and girls. Forgive me for being late. Thank you for all the gracious super chats. Fred, I see him at the end here. I got to read this. Is everything business as usual in Florida, or is it not crowded as previous years? As far as for the summer, everything's business as usual. All the seasonal residents are back up north. Just about all the nomads have traveled back up north. There's always RVers, even full-time ones down here all the time. But there's pretty much just locals, full-time nomads that stay in Florida and never leave, and a couple tourists that come here on a summer vacation. But overall, it's not crowded because Florida's so big. There's a lot of places to go. And I love it for that. I mean, that's why I stay too. So let me take a hydration break, go back to all live comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you guys and girls. Thank you. See, that gets my breath. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking too loud and too fast. I gotta slow down. I'm just taking my time a minute. I hate dead air. I hate dead air, but I gotta just break a minute. All right, we're going back to the comments in order. Read every one. Thank you again, all my members. Man, I'm bleeding on these comments. Read that. Oh, Jesse O. Hey, Jesse. Hope you're still in here. Leave a comment if you are. Happy Father's Day, I guess. My father has not spoken to me in 2 weeks. Really? Because I refused to babysit his 2 kids. Well, yeah, that's a guilt trip. That's manipulation. Sorry, Dad. I'm in Florida living my life. Yeah. If he needed a babysitter, he shouldn't have kids. He should have put that in the budget for daycare. If he had you to take care of his kids, he basically had an indentured servant. So, look, I'm not saying if it's an emergency, you don't help people. I mean, you guys get what I'm saying. Just like we all need help, but you know what I mean. So, look, I mean, the only reason in third world countries families stay together forever is because they don't have the financial independence. That's the bottom line. And I know a lot of people that came from third world countries. So again, my grandparents came from Italy, but I know a lot of people that I know personally in my life that came from third world countries. And look, their family guilt trips them for money. They feel like, oh, you're this rich American, now you got to help me. I helped you. And it never stops. I've seen a couple of them be able to break that cycle, but that's not easy. Because you come from a place where all the family have to pull their resources together in order to survive. And then you come to a place like America, any first world country, where you can make it on your own. If you put some effort, you're going to need some help. But everyone now looks to you like, now you got to help me. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't open a door for them, because I think you're going to open a door for people and they're going to abuse it. They're not going to take advantage of it in a good way. And that's the problem. And I had to learn that lesson too. So, you got to do what you got to do. You got boundaries, or else you'll fuck your life up. ESP at Mary Taz. Hey, ESP. She says to Mary Taz, I keep comprehensive coverage on my van. Now, ESP has a newer van, NV200, I believe. Plus, I have rental insurance. I used to have that. I took it off. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's probably good. She goes, I think about the cost. Yeah, it's a fair point. I'd have if someone ran into me on wheels. It's a fair point. I would definitely, that's why I kept it on all for so long. I just started to look at the thing. And I was like, man, I'm paying an extra $70 a month. At least that's how much I was for the extra. Again, in Florida, we have some of the highest car insurance. I was paying like $200 a month for a 5-year-old car with 200,000 miles. Now I pay about $130 a month. Now, however, I don't have comprehensive and I don't have rent-a-car, but I kind of just self-insured. I do have an umbrella policy, and I do have liability. So, Mary Toss, thanks, ESP. I've been starting to look at my budget for next year. Now, ESP brings up good points. She's smart, and you got to look at the numbers and risk management for your personal individual situation and your assets. How? Few more hours till the big day. I've been thinking about you, man. I am definitely going through the motions. Yeah, you're going to be scared. You're going to be scared all the way to the day you show up. So that's normal. So don't feel bad about that. That's part of life. I have been out of the job for a long time. It's understandable. And that's why you don't want to stay out too long, anyone listening. I just hope I can learn this position. You definitely can. Don't worry about it. And you'll do great. It will. Take time. You'll do fine. Thank you again. Yeah, you did it. Yeah, you're going to do great. Just show up, smile, stay out of trouble. Maritas, at Hal. Tomorrow is going to be a great day. Yeah. Well, this is what I tell you. Maritas is very positive. I totally agree with her. This is what I also want to say. Even if tomorrow sucked, if you showed up, it was great. And if you show up the next day, it's greater. And you keep showing up because that's the greatest thing. Good job, Maritas, being positive. How? Damn, Sam. Remember all the talks we had? Yeah. And the things I was going through, it was not easy. And I give you credit for staying with me because I know it wasn't easy to hear some of the things I was saying. All the interviews, yep, you got better each one. And the struggles I had, I remember them. Tomorrow I celebrate getting back on my feet. I've been praying for you all week, still going to pray for you. But like I said, you did it because like I say, your biggest asset, Hal, is you have a positive attitude. It's your biggest asset, man. And to me, that's the greatest asset. Because you can work with anyone that has a positive attitude. Like Pluto was asking, like he wants to learn a new position. I guarantee you, if his company at least knows him to be a positive person that they can work with, I'm not saying he's going to get the job because I didn't get every job I applied for, but he's got a shot. Okay, I can tell you this. If you're a pain in the ass to work with, guys, you X yourself out of so many jobs. Because bottom line is everyone's got their problems. Like you think a director, you think a VP, you think they don't have their own personal problems? They're human, okay? So you think the last thing a boss or a manager or director, the last thing they want to do is have problems in their personal life, which everyone does, and then come to their job and the people working for them are busting their balls. And there's some people I've worked with, they think it's their job to bust their manager's balls. I'm like, bro, it's your job to encourage your manager. And if you can't encourage your manager, you need to find another job. Because your manager needs your support, not your sarcasm. So some people don't get that. I don't understand those people. I don't understand. Again, I understand if you don't work for a person you like, I've been there. But then you got to look for another job. Okay, I've been there too. So, you got to do one or the other. You got to shit or you got to get off the pot. Twisted. Once I graduate, I'm out. Look, you need certifications and then you need work experience. But whether you're going to school or whether you're going to a job, it all starts with showing up. Good job, Twisted. ESP. At Hal, I can't wait for the live tomorrow to see your first day went. Yeah, maybe that's a good suggestion, ESP. Maybe tomorrow, I'm going to have to write this down. Maybe tomorrow we'll do a live feed about first day at the job. That's a good suggestion, actually. Let me send myself a reminder. Yeah, that's a good topic because we all go through that or have gone through it. Let me send myself an email. If you ever need to document something, send yourself an email to yourself. Either put an attachment or just write a note. And that way it's in your email archive in the cloud. And, first day. Okay. Sent. Okay, so I wrote that down. Novell, thank you again for your gracious super chats. I know I read that. We talked about that. Love to you, brother. Hope you're doing good. Shout out to Oklahoma. Appreciate you. Hal, Maritas and ESP, thank you so much. I am just ironing my shirt and tie. My shoes are polished, and I'm going to hit the sack around 9:30. You're going to be up all night, brother. But you're doing the right thing, man. Prepare your lunch. And look, guys, if you're just getting back on your feet, too, financially, the biggest cost is still eating out. So when you go to work, if you're going into an office or some type of thing like that, prepare your lunch. It'll do a couple things. Number one, it's going to save money. Number two, it's not going to make you rush when you have your break, you have all your stuff prepared. You don't want to take a break and go to Starbucks during lunch or during your 15-minute break in the morning, because then you're going to be rushing back. And if you're at a new job and you get back late because there's traffic or there's an issue, you're going to have all this anxiety. So this is another pro tip on how you mitigate risk and mitigate anxiety, especially in the beginning of a job. Pack your own lunch, pack your own break so you don't have to leave a job site, so that you can build up a trustworthiness and you're not rushing around. Rushing leads to regret. You want to slow down. You want to control your environment, because a new job, you have all these variables. Everything is new. Okay. So your mind is working hard enough. The last thing you need to do is have your mind working on traffic to go get lunch. Okay. You want to mitigate that. Now, after you've been at the job for 10 months, yeah, then things are, you know a lot of things. Then you can go and deal with traffic. You got more flexibility. So that's how you got to kind of understand life, Mary Todd's, good job at Hal. I'll be praying for you tomorrow. I believe in that. Prayers plus work. ESP. Hal, you're starting off on our right foot. Yeah, he's going to do great. Twister, thank you so much for sharing your father story, Sam. I'm trying to share my testimony as honest as I can. Thank you. It is very comforting, because me and my dad have a lot of tension right now. It's not easy. I promised myself to view him as nothing more than whatever uncle. It's a tough thing. Yeah, I leave that for everyone to decide on their own. And again, I want to acknowledge that my father did, whether paying child support, whether giving me opportunity in a trade, variety of things he did for me. So I don't want to act like it's a one-sided thing. Remember, there's always two sides to every story, including mine. But he does have a recurring pattern, whether it was restraining orders, whether it was bad relationships with his own parents, bad relationships with, I was his last child that spoke to him. So while there is two sides to a story, there's also recurring patterns with not just me, with other people. I wasn't the X factor. I wasn't the consistent in all his relationships. He was the consistent. So, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm saying that's something that I evaluated too. Because I always look at, well, is this my fault here? Am I doing something wrong? But I saw, like I say, a consistent record of this guy's not going to change. I'm going to be dealing with this till he dies, and that's how he did with his own father. I'm going to be dealing with a spiteful, controlling person until he dies. It ain't worth the inheritance. It ain't worth the relationship. It'll destroy my life. I ain't going to do it. Suitcase. Hey, Sam. Hey, Suitcase. Love to you, man. How are you doing? Are you thinking of going up north a little earlier? I know you're going to try to hold out till July. Love to you, Suitcase. Good to see you tonight. Happy Father's Day. Twister. You're going to kill it, Hal. He's going to do great. This is fact. Yeah, I think he's going to do great. Just keep showing up. Twist that, Hal. Adam. I believe in you, Hal. Positive people. I like it. Mary Taz. My dad and I do not have a good relationship. Thank you for sharing. I ran away at 16. Wow. And never looked back. Wow. He did put a roof over my head for 15 years. I appreciate you sharing. Wasn't there until I was 1 year old. Wow, that's interesting, Mary Taz. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was young, I never ran away, but I remember a couple times, like with my mom, I'm running away, and I went away for a night or so. And I lived with friends at times, or, as I got older, but like I said, overall, my mom was great. I couldn't ask for a better mother. Overall, I would say, even my childhood, I would say overall was great. Good friends, good environment. But like every family, every person, nothing's perfect. And as an adult, you got to figure out what you want to deal with, what you don't. Suitcase says, it's my opinion that marriage licenses should expire every year and cost $5,000 to get. That would really change a relationship. Your thoughts? Let me think about that. I don't know. I mean, to me, if you have to, if you're going to get married, I think you're deciding that it's not something you're going to evaluate every year unless there's a major issue. So I would just say, if that's like a concern, I would just say you don't have the personality to be married like me. So I know my personality, and I may think like how you think, like, every year I want to know if I can get out, but that's not the personality that should be married. Just like I don't think my father should be married. So I wouldn't say I agree with that restriction, because I think that's a mindset of someone who doesn't want to be married. Because so that's what I would say, is just stay single. Now, however, when it comes to different laws, I don't know. I mean, they're all varying. Most of the entanglement comes when you have kids. So that's when financially there's a lot of liability. However, to me, again, that's when you have to decide how much unprotected sex do you have to have. Because I could definitely understand one child, because any of us can get caught up. But, there's people that have multiple children. And again, I was the third child. I was supposed to be an abortion. That, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back financially and emotionally. So I don't know, I hope what I do see as the newer generations come, I think they realize that more. I think previous generations that didn't have all this information, because remember, there was just like a couple channels on TV, and my grandparents didn't even have TV. My father had TV at a certain age. Even growing up, I think we got TV in the late 80s. I was like 8, 9, 10, something like that. And we had a black and white TV with no cable. Okay. So, and it was just basic channels, right? So I remember like getting the Eagles game on with Cunningham, like, oh my God, we got the Eagles game. So now, because information is so readily available and the pitfalls of life are, you almost have to have your head in the sand to not be understanding the consequences of relationships and children and all. And that's where I understand men going their own way. They're trying to share certain things. I think they go too far and they don't take accountability for the man. But look, now with all this information, if people are still choosing to have kids and getting married, you have to take then you should structure it outside of a marriage. You should have a prenup. So what I would say, Suitcase, is just let the laws be the laws, but have a prenup. See, a prenup is whether you get divorced in 2 minutes or in 2 years or in 20 years, that once you get divorced, this prenup structures the liquidation of our assets. Like even when Donald Trump got elected, Melania Trump stayed back in New York, and she wouldn't come to Washington, D.C. until they renegotiated the prenup. So that's what I would tell people, guys. Look, if you really wanted or concerned about if things go wrong, then have a contract, whether it's a prenup or whatever, and you can put things about your children in there where both parties willingly agree. Then you don't leave it to the government. You don't leave it to anyone. You know what you're getting into, and you mitigated your risk, and both people willingly agree. I think that's the best advice. Good comment. Made me think. Twister, thank you for sharing, Mary Taz. I agree. Adam, I've been fortunate to have a very good relationship with my dad. Thumbs up to you. He's like my best friend. That's awesome. I was the spoiled brat of the family. Nothing wrong with that. My mom and other resented me for that. Wow, that's not right. I can understand that too. I was the only son, so I can understand that there's a little feeling there. Love to you, Suitcase. Take care, man. I just saw that. Yeah, so I can understand that, Adam. But there's nothing wrong with, getting along with your father and being spoiled. Mary Taz, I did walk the dog twice so far. Had to run errands today and started to get upset. Red T. So the dog and I went for a walk. There you go. Much better. When in doubt, go for a walk. Change your life for the better. Good job, Mary Taz. I went for a few today because I was getting a little sad, and it helped. 15-minute walk will change your whole mindset. Keith B., thank you again for this gracious super chat. I know I read that, but I appreciate it again. Hal, I also read that. Thank you again. Hal said March 26th, 2020 was when he got laid off. Thank you for correcting me. Alex, great to see you, and thank you again for staying with me. I appreciate that, Alex. Shout out to Florida, all the Floridians out there. My man Fred from BK also read that. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to try to stay in Florida until Labor Day weekend, whether I do the hybrid nomad model or just sweat my ass off. Hal, thank you again. I also read this. He corrected me about the start date and the layoff time. Thank you again. Charles, very positive guy. Thank you again. Also read that. Appreciate you, brother. Mary Taz, thanks, Sam. I hadn't thought about an umbrella policy. Yeah, that's key. That'll mitigate your risk, and it'll cost you $200-300 a month, and you can go up to another $1 million coverage. Sabat, what's up, brother? Shout out to Jacksonville. Good to see you, man. I've been thinking about going to North Florida. So I may, but love to you, brother. Shout out to everyone in Northeast Florida. Adam, good evening, Sabat. Yeah. Adam, thank you again here. He goes, definitely, Sam. Sorry. Did I even read this? Adam, man, I'm fucking slacking. Definitely appreciate you, Sam. Sorry, I got to take off. Catch you tomorrow. Thank you, Adam. Forgive me, guys. I hope I'm reading these comments in a timely manner. Adam, love to you. Happy Father's Day to you, because I know you got kids. Happy Father's Day to your father. I'm glad you have a great relationship. Thank you for your positive attitude. Love and appreciation to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to Adam. Mary Taz. Hey, Ed Savat. Savat, best of luck to you, Hal. Twister. What's up, Savat? Fred. Is everything business as usual in Florida, or is it not as crowded as previous years? Yeah, I know. I also read that. Yeah, all the snowbirds are up north, just locals and a few tourists. Very quiet here in Florida. Charles, Florida's great. Thumbs up. I think the cloud over the past week put me into a funk. That's understandable. It's good to have a little bit of cloud covering, though. That sun, too much sun exposure will mess you up too. You got to have a little cloud covering. Because I'm not riding my bike to work as much. Bike riding clears my mind. I can understand that. Go to the gym where there's air conditioning, get on that stationary bike, and clear your mind with a 15-minute riding of the bike. Good job. Keith, at Twista, appreciate you. Charles, I've gotten connected with a few coworkers. There you go. I went over to one of their houses and had some beer and smoked cigars. My coworker had a killer pet, close to $500,000 house. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. If you get along with them and it's a good time, man, God bless you. That sounds like, good, Suitcase, take care. Suitcase, thank you again for coming in. Thank you for your positive attitude. Love to you again. Happy Father's Day to you. Hope you're doing well. I'm not sure when you're going up north or if you're going to make a video about it or if you're just going to stay down here. But love to you no matter what you do. And thank you again. Twister, same here, Keith. Mary Taz, I ran away because my life wasn't livable. Wow. My dad was physically abusive. I'm fortunate I never experienced that to a certain extent. And my mom was an alcoholic. Wow. See, that's what I mean. I got to be thankful. Living on the street for a year taught me a lot. Wow. See, you got a more powerful testimony than me in many instances. And I appreciate you sharing that. And that's why I say, sometimes I look at other people and they've gone through a lot more hardship than me. In many ways, I've been very fortunate. And so love to you, Mary Taz. Thank you for sharing. Mary Taz, wasn't the easiest kid to have either. I appreciate your honest evaluation. You're very, very self-aware, very positive. God bless you, Mary Taz. All right, guys and girls. I hope this video helped you. Thank you, everyone, for being gracious to me. I hope that I read the comments in a somewhat timely manner. I hope that this time together, we all connected with each other. It edified. It helped us all in some way. And remember to keep Hal in our prayers tomorrow for his new job. Twister says, Mary Taz a warrior. I give her a lot of credit. And I got all people out there. Everyone I give credit, man. Love to everyone. I know. Look, the older I get, whether you're brought up in a very fortunate situation or a very hard situation, is that I know everyone has their own struggles in their own way. And that's why I say, as I get older, I realize that more. And in my personal life, I'm very picky on who I'm going to have in my life, including my own father. Because I don't know, it's as you get older, things get harder. So, it's not easy. I'm not saying just cut people off. It's not an easy thing to do either. But everyone has to figure this out, okay? But I think too, like I say, I know since I was young that, if you're going to play the game with someone, cut them off, period, too. I'll say that. If not, you have to basically accept that the rest of your life until they die, you're going to be under their control. Ain't worth it. So that's the give and a take, okay? Thank you again, everyone. Thank you. See you tomorrow, God willing. Thank you.